What were the paramilitary groups in Colombia? Have you ever wondered how certain armed groups shaped the history of Colombia? Let's take a closer look at the paramilitary groups that have played a significant role in the country's armed conflict. These groups are often seen as right-wing militias, formed to counter leftist guerrilla movements. They aim to protect the interests of landowners, business elites, and, later on, drug traffickers. Paramilitary groups operate outside the official military structure. In Colombia, they emerged in response to the rise of guerrilla movements, especially after the 1960s. Leftist groups like the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia and the National Liberation Army began challenging the government. Initially, the Colombian government allowed these paramilitary groups to form, even encouraging them in areas where state control was weak. The roots of paramilitary activity trace back to the 1950s during a period known as La Violencia. Supporters of the Conservative Party formed armed groups to fight against their Liberal Party rivals. However, the modern paramilitary movement truly took shape in the 1980s. Large landowners, business leaders, and drug cartels began to organize and fund these militias to protect their economic interests and combat guerrilla influence. By the 1990s, paramilitary groups became highly organized and were heavily involved in the illegal drug trade. They used violence to control land, displace communities, and eliminate anyone seen as a threat. This included political activists, union leaders, and civilians suspected of supporting guerrillas. One of the most notable organizations was the United Self-Defense Forces of Colombia. Formed in 1997, this group united various regional paramilitary factions under a single command structure. This period marked the height of paramilitary violence, leading to widespread human rights abuses, including massacres and forced disappearances. The impact of these groups has been profound. They are responsible for a significant portion of civilian deaths and human rights violations during Colombia's armed conflict. Their actions have left deep scars on communities, especially in rural areas, where entire populations were displaced and local economies disrupted. From a cultural perspective, the paramilitary phenomenon reflects broader struggles over land, power, and social justice. The conflict between paramilitaries, guerrillas, and the state has shaped national identity and collective memory. Truth commissions and transitional justice processes have aimed to address the suffering caused by these groups and restore dignity to victims. Understanding the role of paramilitary groups is essential for grasping the full scope of Colombia's revolutionary movements and insurgencies. It helps explain the motivations behind the violence and the challenges of peacebuilding. The legacy of these groups continues to influence Colombian society, politics, and social relations today.